Hello, everyone. This is Frank Dicas once again. Hoping everyone's having a great Wednesday. Happy hump day to all of you. Back at you once again with a small message, drop a little bit of knowledge. But first and foremost, just thank everyone that's been watching my videos, that has hit the like button, that has left a comment. And those of you that have subscribed, I really appreciate you. It's really overwhelming to see the support, to see the traction that my videos are having. I know not every video is going to have the same type of response, and that's okay. My content is always going to be a mixed bag of things that I put together, that I edit together, which is something that I'm working on right now. I hope you guys enjoy. And also me jumping in front of the camera and just being direct about some of the things that I want to say, some of the opinions that I have, and every now and then speak directly to people, which is what I plan to do today. Um, just this last December, my dog's walking around. So if you see like the shadow moving, that's my dog. Just this last December, we it was Christmas and New Year's and all of that. And one of the movies that always comes out during the Christmas season is Home Alone and Home Alone 2. I don't really care for all the other Home Alones. For me, the Home Alones are one and two. Just like for me, The Godfather is one and two. The third I don't really watch. And then I could do that for various series of movies. I'm a real big movie buff. I watch a lot of classic films, but in the Home Alone movies in particular, we have Kevin, who's the protagonist, who's always left alone, and then we have the Sticky Bandits, who are the antagonists. I would say the parents are probably the antagonists before the scene, but that's a whole different breakdown of the movie. Okay, but who were the Sticky Bandits? Well, they were ex-cons that got together to continue to be criminals, and we see them trying to enter the house where there's a boy, underage child, home alone, who's, trying to fight him off and using his intelligence, using his wit to try to keep these weirdos away. Right. And we know how that ends. And I think it's in the second movie where they call themselves the Sticky Bandits. I don't remember. I think they were, there's been a few names, but the one I remember the most is the Sticky Bandits. Well, we've got Sticky Bandits online as well. One of the things that we've been doing with Exposed Tube, shout out to Exposed Tube and everybody down with the movement. My homegirl Kayla, Shark City Girl, Miss V, Mimi, all the ladies that are a part of it, that respond, that are in the chats, that call in, because we've been calling in, and everybody else like Local Bird, Oakland Everything, YA Baby, just everyone that's a part of that community. I wish I could mention you all. I know some of you have subscribed and are active participants in my channel. Thank you so much for your support. And I think that what we've been doing, even though we have our retractors and our haters and people that are attacking the movement, is that we've put a spotlight onto a lot of the mischief, a lot of the underhanded dealings that Gunner and Dubs have been doing for a while. Under the guise of content creators, under the guise of we're down for La Raza, which we already know they're not. They're only down for their pocket. If their pockets are good, then it's all good. They don't particularly care about anyone else but themselves. And they've joined forces, just like the Sticky Bandits, to try to do some underhanded shit to make money, to prosper, and usually it comes in the form of dealing with kids, like we see them on TikTok, like we see them battling it out. I don't know if that's going to continue. I was looking at that up today. As a matter of fact, I was seeing how much a TikToker can make battling, and it's pretty good money. I mean, you could walk away from that with $200 a day, after all that TikTok takes away. So I know that adults, not just these two individuals, I know other adults engage in these battles, and it would be hypocritical for me to say that I don't find that a little bit weird or cringe, but that's not necessarily criminal per se. Now, why do I judge it in Dubs and Gunner? Is because of all of that, you know, rhetoric of being man, being making $1 million moves, and we're this and we're that. But all the time, what they've been about is taking advantage of either weaker channels, channels that aren't as strong, people that they think they can manipulate, like women and children, or they go on TikTok and they battle it out with kids, and they, try to work their followers for money. It's a hustle. It's a hustle, right? So the problem that we've had with it is the fact that they're doing this after saying that they're this and they're that and they've been through this and their whole outlook is positive and helping the community and la raza and whoop whoop wop wop. You already know the spiel, and we already know that is bullshit. So I wanted to right now shout out Trap Island Records, okay, who has made some bombastic, serious claims about the power dynamic duo of Gunner and Dubs and their underlying businesses with Food for Felons in Las Vegas. And now that fell through. And if you guys go, and I invite you to go and check out his channel, subscribe to his channel, check out his videos. But there are a couple of videos that were from, a couple of years ago in which he talks specifically about the things that we've been pointing out all along, that maybe we were blind to for a while, or maybe we weren't particularly aware of until we started seeing how they started crashing out. That made us, especially me, when I started seeing the crash outs, that made me question, like, okay, these guys aren't really about it, because if you're over here saying, you're down for raza, you're down for positive messaging, but then you're on your live crashing out drunk, threatening people, then that does not connect. That does not mesh together well. So there, somewhere down the line, the imagery, the optics of this is false, and that's what got me into this whole thing of, we're not supposed to be doing this when we say that we are from the background that we're from. So hearing Trap Island Records talk about these particular individuals and how they were trying to come at him, a young man, and we're talking about 2 years ago. He's 23 now, so he was 21 back then. These are two grown ex-cons, trying to swindle him, trying to get him to do things that he didn't want to do. Like, if you guys go to one of the lives, I think the last two lives with Exposed Tube, or if you go on to Trap Island Records, you will hear for yourself exactly what they were trying to do. And how they were trying to monetize off of a young female artist who was, barely in her 20s, starting off 19, we believe, 20 years old, and the type of deal that they were trying to accrue through this young man and their connections is really sickening. I'm not going to go into detail. I want you guys to go and check it out. Now, are these allegations true? Is this all true? It would have to be proven. Unfortunately, I don't think none of this will ever go to court. I don't think it'll ever even make it to a formal accusation or none of that. But do I believe it could be true? Yeah, I believe it could be true because of the way these men move around. The moves that these men make in order to make money, to make their $1 million moves, going on TikTok, battling children, and doing all of this weird stuff, leads me to believe that they're down to do anything for a dollar. Even try to get a young man involved in dirty money, and try to profit off a young woman by sexualizing her. No, these are some serious allegations, but they're not that far-fetched. They're not that far-fetched when you hear how Dubs talks about women, especially when he spoke on Skyla, especially when he spoke on Miss V and the different women that at one moment were supporters of his. And the way he's crashed out and he's spoken on them. Or the way he's spoken to kids until we started intervening in their TikTok lives. They were battling kids and disrespecting them, and, oh, we're just battling. Dude, you're 40, 50-year-old ex-convicts. Do you not understand the optics of this? You guys are the real life sticky bandits. That's who you are. That's why we're coming at you. That's why we're hard pressed to get you guys off of that platform. I hope that TikTok itself will work its way to where you don't profit from it. And if you're going to come back to YouTube to put out content, man, stay within the lane that you need to stay within. You guys, especially you, Dubs, making all of these allusions to people within the penitentiary system associated to certain things that you should not be talking about. Plain and simple. That shouldn't even be discussed by anyone. We know what's going on with hood stocks. We know what's going on with Adam 16. We already know. We're watching it. We're seeing it. You have no voice in that. You have no voice. I don't even have a voice in that. But I'm calling you out because you definitely should not be talking about politics at all. Not at all. When we know where you come from. You guys are the sticky bandits. You guys lie, you guys cheat, you guys steal, and aren't afraid to do it from young people in order to get a bag, like a crumbly little bag. Showing off Bentleys that ended up being leased as though they're yours. I mean, I don't know what happened between you and Food and Felons, whatever the name of that channel is. I don't know what happened between you and them, but obviously that fell through. So that was another $1 million move that turned to dust, as will be everything that you touch, as we're seeing you guys depreciate in value as every day goes on. You're losing credibility amongst your own viewers. We see when you get on live in YouTube, like, wow, you're finally live. You're finally on YouTube. You defraud your own viewers. And then you block people for questioning you. You guys are the sticky bandits. You guys are all the booby traps that you set for others, you fall into them on your own. That's crazy. That's crazy. I just wanted to get that in there. That's crazy. Right? All of that, throwing jackets on people, like someone mentioned in my comments on my last video. I wonder what kind of jacket they're going to throw on you. Well, they already tried. Just some other torpedoes from somewhere else already tried that. They can continue to try. Make sure it's a London fog, one of those, the classic trench coats, because that's how I'm coming. I'm going to come with a trench coat into this and let you guys know what it's all about. My sawed-off shotgun is going to be my content and me pointing out all of the fallacies in your movement, in your credentials. We got people on here that are talking all this, trying to judge people and, do what you got to do. But the reality is that there is proof, there is video proof of all of the things that we point out in these men. There is video proof. I left in my community tab today about me going back and looking at all of the old videos that I had dropped before my current run. And a lot of the messaging in those videos is the same as I'm messaging now. Why? Because my message doesn't change because I don't change. I am who I am. I'm going to be a constant factor in this. Right? I will continue to drop content and I will continue to be against the sticky bandits because that's who you are. You guys are the sticky bandits on these platforms, trying to come over, trying to get across young people because you see them alone. You think that you can get over on them. You think you can manipulate and influence them negatively, but they turn out to be smarter than the average bear, and you fall into all of their booby traps. And that's exactly what you're going to end up doing. You're going to fall into something that you constructed yourself, and there will be no coming back from that. So this is more of a warning to you guys. I mean, we're not going to stop, and more things are going to come out. Not from us digging, but people are going to feel more comfortable seeing that there is a space, there is a channel in which people can go and be themselves and talk about these things and really go against all of the stuff that you guys are doing. So I just wanted to take the time to drop this video and just to let it be known we're not going to stop. More and more stuff is going to bubble up. More and more people are going to understand what this movement is about. This is not a prison genre movement. I don't consider myself being prison genre. But we're pointing out you guys because, as I said in my first video, there cannot be true unity while we still have all of these actors, these bad actors, trying to represent and acting as though they speak for La Raza and they're representatives of who we are and those of us that have the backgrounds that we have. No, you are not a representative. If you continue to function in that sort of mentality where all you see is the bottom line, which is a dollar, if that's all that moves you, like all of you guys that say, well, I'm going to make money off these channels. Well, make your money, fool, but it's not going to be enough to buy your dignity. It's not going to be enough to buy your soul. It's not going to be enough. All of you guys speaking out on men without really knowing who they are, hey, that you guys will have what's coming to you, and it's not going to even be from those. It'll be from the fact that all of that you do will come back to you. Okay. Now, why am I able to speak on these men is because we have proof. We've seen it. I was a supporter. Go back to my first video. Look at who I shoot. I shoot out. I give them a shout out. I give Gunners a shout out. I give Dubs a shout out because at that moment in time when I dropped my first video, they were, at least for me, at that moment, were still trying to deceive us. But the sticky bandits will eventually make themselves known. And I think it's fine time that everyone else realize that we're stepping 10 toes down on this. I'm not going to stop. Well, you think your little troll accounts and all of these things are going to stop me? They're not going to stop me. I've been living this. Like, I live and breathe this. I have a trajectory that's not online of doing this type of thing. I'm not going to sit here and brag about the actions I do. No, I'm the man who I am right now. I'm going to talk about the things I have to talk about right now. I'm not going to come back and try to brag and glorify and put up in front of people all of the different things that I can show to brag. And I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. I know who I am. My videos and my actions behind the camera and those of that I allow to enter into my personal private social media, that's an oxymoron. But you know what I mean. Those pages are my personal pages. Whoever I let in has the opportunity to see what I've been standing on for the last, since 2009 when I created my first profile, which was in fact Facebook. So all of you dudes that are out there acting dumb, being sticky bandits, trying to get over on people, trying to manipulate young people to get your own, to try to score big and not caring about what happens to them, you got it coming. We're going to continue to be on your necks. So I just wanted to take the time to put that out there. That's an energy that I'm on. There's going to be dudes that are going to they're going to make lives. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. I've seen people making a live of my videos. My 340 subscriber video, channel. I only have 300, almost 340 subscribers. Thank you guys, all of you. Every single one of you make it worth what I'm doing. But there's already channels doing lives on my videos, trying to decompose my person and, judging me from their biases and, because they can't fathom a man who doesn't crash out. They can't fathom a man who sticks to the game plan. You guys, like I said, go back and view all of my old videos and you will see that the message stays consistent. I'm all for uplifting anybody that's willing to change. And I'm also down to point out and crush all of you sticky bandits out there. So Sticky Bandit number 1 and 2. You guys choose who you want 1 and 2. I don't know if it's Gunner, I don't know if it's Dubs, or vice versa. Whoever you consider yourself to be within that, that's who you are. You guys are the Sticky Bandits. And until you decide to stop acting such, coming out clean, and doing what you're supposed to be doing on your platforms, there's not going to be any stopping to us pointing you out. There's not. So I salute all of you that are on this same energy, that are on the same trip. We're going to continue doing this. We're going to continue putting our foot down. We're going to continue dropping knowledge. That's not ever going to stop. Stay blessed, stay humble, stay safe out there. Until next time, peace.